boy, oh boy, oh boy. We're back, everybody. I'm Shanghai Pete, high-tech lowlife, the people's champion, 21st century digital boy, and the host of the trauma club that we call Degreelessness. Or, as it will be known to historians in the future, the only examples of 21st century culture worth preserving. Today, it is my sincere pleasure to welcome you to a brand new edition of the Fuck the FF7 Remake show. I knew we wouldn't have to wait long for them to give us another reason to talk some shit about this game, but wow. Even I didn't think it would be this soon, or this bad for that matter. So let's not waste any more time not being deep inside this latest unabashed attempt by Square Enix to siphon more money out of their loyal, deceived, and at this point traumatized customers, and just get right down to it. At this point, you may find yourself wondering several things. Things like, precisely how grotesque is the used condom that they're trying to sell us called Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade? Just how far into human rights violation territory have they allowed their sell a never-ending remake scheme to take them? And what the fuck is it exactly? And also, is Intergrade a real word? First, yes it is, though I had to look it up to be sure. Secondly, as for what it is, well, let's go over that together, and you can judge for yourself precisely to what level of obscenity you think it rises. Personally, I can still scarcely believe that they split up the original to begin with. Like, I'm still coming to terms with it. I probably have PTSD from it or something. But now, it hurts my head to even begin to imagine the type of audacity that it takes to release literally anything that isn't part 2, while all the poor fucks that you duped with part 1 have already been waiting over a year. This is a level of vulgarity I can barely comprehend. And, you know, it's me, so you know that the amount of vulgarity that I can comprehend is quite a bit. But that is indeed what they're doing. Final Fantasy VII Midgar Adventure is coming to the PS5. Better start rejoicing, you fucking plebs. So, while the word Intergrade doesn't tell us much, if anything, about what this game actually is, we definitely know what the fuck it is not. One, it's not anything that even remotely resembles something that should be called a remake of Final Fantasy VII, and two, it is definitely not part 2 or the sequel to part 1, Midgar Adventure. At first, I thought the whole thing was an obvious excuse to just resell the same thing on the PS5, and, you know, they added some bullshit Yuffie side quests in a half-hearted attempt to justify it, but it's actually worse than that. It does bear mentioning, however, that you do get Intergrade for free if you have the PS4 version of part 1. Okay, that's nice. Sure, that's nice, but it's also kind of the least you could do, right? And as it turns out, it was the absolute least they could do, because not only does the Yuffie side quest, which I had been assuming was the main draw of this travesty anyway, not even release as part of the main game, but you also need to, wait for it, buy it separately as DLC if you took advantage of the free upgrade from the PS4 version. Way to incentivize them, huh? Currently, we don't know how much it'll be for just the standalone DLC part, but I'll eat a window if it's anything less than 25 bucks. Now, before we move on, to be clear, if you buy the full price Intergrade, it doesn't even ship with the Yuffie side quest. You'll have to simply trust Square Enix that it'll actually come out at some point, and good thing they've never given us a reason not to trust them, right? And if you had the PS4 upgrade version, it's not included at all, and you have to pay for it separately. Again, assuming that it ever actually comes out. Keep in mind that neither of these options will somehow turn this into part 2. Now take that, you stupid gamer fucks. If you've watched my previous videos on the remake, you'll know I wasn't exactly impressed with the side quests that they did include the first time around. Side quests which predictably did nothing but pad out the story to buy Square Enix more time to convince you that the thing was worth your money. And they also managed to succeed in adding demonstrably nothing of value to the narrative, character interactions, or overall story. And incredibly, in many cases, actually served to make them worse. Who can forget this classic right here? Ah yes, the thrill of sneaking into a coma patient's room as a badass cyberpunk mercenary and rifling through his things while he's fucking lying in bed right next to you. Just truly unforgettable stuff here, guys. And what about the riveting 2-hour diversion through one of everyone's absolute favorite video game settings, a fucking sewer. A brown sewer filled with shit. Fantastic. Oh, and what about that one time you were forced to pick flowers for 30 minutes before being allowed to move on with the story? Yeah, nothing like a level 2 World of Warcraft quest to make me glad that they tore apart a classic PS1 era RPG just to sell it back to me in pieces until the end of time. Just shoot me in the fucking face. So when I say that I have my doubts that the Yuffie side quest will be anything beyond an excruciating exercise in mediocrity, know that I am vastly understating the likely reality. But that can't be all, right? There must be something else. Oh, don't you worry, there is. They wouldn't take time away from developing part 2 of the series that they're totally, for real, definitely at some point, absolutely not 50 years in the future going to finish, just to earn some cheap, quick cash for the low-effort port, right? Huh. Well, how's this? Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade features higher quality textures, lighting, and background details, as well as the option of 2 different display modes. Graphics mode, which prioritizes image quality and 4K resolution, and Performance mode, which prioritizes 60 frames a second display. In addition, Intergrade also introduces a photo mode, accessible from the pause screen that allows players to take virtual photographs of gameplay scenes. Further, new difficulties are available in Classic mode. So ostensibly y'all changed some values in a settings file and added an option to allow it to actually run at 60 FPS, which I'll point out is a separate mode from the one that does 4K. And although we didn't need this particular example, there's plenty of others out there, I'll use it to once again point out the mighty PS5 failing to even manage 60 FPS at 4K. PS5, so worth it, right? I just love running games at 4K at 22 FPS, so awesome. And I don't think I need to point out the amount of value to be found in a photo mode, for fuck's sake. Yes, I know some people like it, that's fine, cool. I've even taken a few screenshots myself in various photo modes, but that's a fucking patch. It's not a bullet point on the back of a box to try to sell someone a whole new version of a game they probably already own. So please, tell me again how I was wrong about hating this. Remind me of how awesome Square Enix is at everything and how they're totally gonna finish this in reasonable time. I dare you to do that and make sense. Alright, so to wrap up, here's the facts. FF7 Remake, Part 1 Intergrade, note that I add the Part 1 here because literally all of Square Enix's marketing seems to have forgotten it, is a PS5 re-release of Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1 for PS4, also known as Part 1 Midgar Adventure. Price? $60? Nope. Try again. 65. Negative Ghost Rider, one more guess. They wouldn't be trying to get away with 70, would they? Oh, fuck yes they would. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1 Intergrade for the PS5 will cost you $70 fucking dollars. Perhaps you'd prefer to give Square Enix $90 instead? Is that a possibility? Oh, you bet your fucking ass it is. For your $90, you get the game, plus they'll throw in some JPEGs and a couple MP3s, along with an extra word deluxe printed on the physical box that you probably won't get anyway. Quite a bargain. As we mentioned earlier, the PS4 version of Part 1 does include a free next-gen upgrade, though you won't get the bonus Yuffie side quest. That's extra. Of course, it's also important to note that as of right now, there is no amount of money you can throw at Square Enix to assure that you can actually play the Yuffie side quest when Intergrade drops. That'll release on presumably the same date as Part 2. As for other features, they've graciously dialed the graphics slider up to medium from the low setting it was running at on the PS4. Oh, and don't forget photo mode. The only actual content here is the Yuffie DLC side quest, which won't even ship with the game and doesn't come with the PS4 upgrade. Congratulations, Square Enix, you exceed your own standards of miserly anti-consumer deception and unbridled avarice. Don't worry though, I'm sure Part 2 will be out any day now, though don't count on it being called Part 2, or having a world map, or having anything to do with Final Fantasy. That's our show. Oh god, shame on me, huh guys? I know. How dare I talk shit about a beloved AAA developer and point out how lazy and anti-consumer practically everything that they do is. I'm a horrible person. Though at this point, I think that it's been pretty well established. Well, perhaps not horrible, but certainly puerile and crude. Anyways, I hope this brightens your day or at least puts a smile on your face if you were one of the many people that, like me, was absolutely crushed when they found out what they did to Final Fantasy VII. It's not much we can do but try to laugh about it now, guys. Thank you for spending this little bit of your free time here with us tonight. We love you today. We love you all the way. Make sure you keep it tuned right here to Degreelessness for more of our wacky adventures and anti-industry mischief. We'll see you next week.